Summer Paggy, Keto here.
And Mio here to tell you that Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the movie, has been released in theaters, and we have some thoughts.
And so does the rest of the internet. OMG.
Right now, opinions are divided about Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and whether it's a delicious treat for the fans and peak cinema, or whether it's just plain vanilla bad.
Everyone has opinions, and people are freaking out over the Rotten Tomatoes score. But no worries. Mio and Keto here to give you the only opinion that really matters. Ours.
Also, this video has to come out pretty quick, so please don't mind the less than stellar editing and vocal performance.
More people than expected have not seen the first movie, so we'll recap the first Five Nights at Freddy's briefly, so spoilers for a movie that's been out for 2 years and a month.
The first movie follows Mike Schmidt, a man watching over his younger sister named Abby, and trying to find information about his younger brother who went missing 20 years ago.
He does this using Dream Theory. He ends up getting offered a job as a nighttime security guard at the now closed Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. There in the pizzeria are haunted animatronics that befriend Abby, but there be a dark secret that is revealed by a police officer named Vanessa.
William Afton shows up at the end of the movie in a yellow rabbit suit and is revealed to have killed the kids and is somehow controlling their souls.
The movie ends with William getting spring-locked and Mike, Abby, and Vanessa getting away.
That's pretty much the story in a micro, ultra super condensed form.
The movie was well received by fans, but critics gave it a rather low score. Now, 2 years later, Blumhouse is back with a sequel that hopefully learned from what they did right and wrong from the first movie and will create something that can win over the fans, critics, and general audiences.
As we all know, Rotten Tomatoes is not a consistent indicator of quality. The scores can be all over the place for various reasons, and for some reason, people still care, even if they say they don't.
They'll take whatever score is given and twist it to fit their own personal opinion about the movie.
For instance, if the critic scores high and the audience scores high, they'll say,
"Oh, this confirms my belief that this movie is in fact very, very good."
And if the critic scores high but the audience scores low, they might say,
"This movie is for intellectuals only."
And on the flip side,
"The critics have been bought out."
And if both scores are low,
"I knew this movie would be bad, I won't be seeing it in theaters."
And if the critics are low but the audience is high,
"I hate Rotten Tomatoes, they're just a bunch of woke liberal fiends. They've been bought out by Disney and they're just a bunch of shields, Nazis and pedophiles."
And if the scores are mid,
I sleep.
Unless it's their favorite movie.
Real crap?
So, before we continue, the Rotten Tomatoes score really shouldn't matter, but it does for some people.
And because the FNAF 2 movie has received such a low score, it has resulted in two different kinds of reactions. Those who cope and seethe, and those who notice the excessive amounts of coping and seething.
And when we went to go see the movie, we weren't even aware of this whole Rotten Tomatoes drama. So here's a spoiler-free review for you no-spoiler bros.
Time to review! It's kind of okay, I guess. We really liked the opening scene, and the first half of the movie was at least okay. A few bumps here and there, but still enjoyable. Characters that we previously hated like Vanessa actually became our favorite character, and there were little bits of humor that actually landed.
But the final half or a third of the movie really takes a turn for the worse.
This movie has some of the most baffling creative decisions I have ever seen, and there are sections and elements of the movie that are just plain bad.
Like the writing, some of the dialogue, and the choice to completely underuse the animatronics. The last part of the movie also feels extremely rushed and sloppy, and the pacing of the whole movie just isn't very good. Overall, it's a very flawed film.
But some people might be able to overlook some of these things. There are 3 different ways of looking at this movie.
A diehard fan will gawk at all the references and Easter eggs and the sheer number of animatronics. There's like 12 or more of them in here. That's crazy.
And there are some surprising moments in the movie, and for some, that's enough to give this movie a 10 out of 10. Other fans might be disappointed by the lack of screen time for the animatronics, and the movie having similar problems to the first one, like too much bloat and not being scary enough.
But they still might enjoy the movie for the most part and say, it's bad, but I still liked it.
And critics and non-FNAF fans will hate it because they didn't like the first one, and this is just more of that.
So if you're going to the theater to see this movie is hinging upon our opinion, then here's our thoughts.
If you're a FNAF fan and you like the first movie, go and see it. You'll have a great time, possibly, or you'll at least, think, it could have been better, but I enjoyed myself.
And if you're not a FNAF fan or didn't like the first movie, then this is torture, don't go.
In conclusion, we'd give this movie, being very generous, a 5 out of 10.
So if you're gonna go watch the movie anyway, go get out of here, go enjoy the movie, and don't let anything anybody says ruin its enjoyment for you. Even if it is a bad movie, and you think it's a bad movie and you enjoyed it, enjoy it! I can't stop you, and I have no plans to.
We consider this a safe space for those who love and hate this movie.
And for everyone who's already seen it, or is not going to go see it, we are about to get into spoilers. So buckle Buckle up!
If you haven't seen the movie or don't want spoilers, skip to this time code to skip over all of that, but we will be talking about spoilers for quite a bit.
The best way of doing this is to, very briefly, chronologically go through the whole movie.
Time to review again!
The movie begins with a girl named Charlotte seeing a kid getting abducted by the yellow rabbit himself. She tells the adults around, but they all comically ignore her. It's insane that the only 3 adults that she tries to talk to are the most heartless beings on planet Earth. It's so over the top, it must be an exaggerated POV. Surely, this will not become the character's sole motivation for revenge. Charlotte goes and saves the kid from being killed by Willie Afton, but dies in the process, and possesses the marionette animatronic. Then the whole thing gets written off as an accident? I guess it's not out of the question.
Despite its flaws, the opening was quite possibly the best part of the movie. I quite liked it, and still do. A few details were a little weird, but overall a very solid introduction. This scene definitely makes Springtrap feel like a big, scary bunny man.
After some banger credits with some banger music, the movie loses a bit of steam, but sets up the current situation for the characters.
Vanessa is struggling to get over her past. Abby misses her friends, and Mike just wants them to all become normal and makes it his mission. Definitely a lesser known motivation compared to the last movie, with him always wanting to sleep. Also, FNAF reference, I can put you back together?
Abby is also very bad at robotics so far, and eventually discovers that the original animatronics, her friends, are no longer functional, and their pieces are all over the place at the old pizzeria. So she is sad. How sad.
About 25 minutes into the movie, we're introduced to somebody named Michael. Ooh! And our first fake jump scare. There are a lot of these sprinkled into the film, actually, too many. Oh, super loud scary sound. Oh, JK, just a random goober. It happened 3, 4, 5 times too many.
Bish posh. Anyways, this mysterious new Michael gets these ghost hunters from this TV show to go to the original Freddy's restaurant. Not the one from the first movie, but one that's even older. He does this for reasons, and the woman accidentally wakes up the marionette and is killed and possessed. Yes, the marionette can do that in this movie. And yes, that will become a point of contention later.
Other toy animatronics wake up as well, and the other 2 ghost hunters are slaughtered. This is definitely one of the better scenes in the movie, and Scott Cawthon really learned from the first movie and made the animatronics clear threats, and it makes the whole thing a lot spookier.
One person has his arm ripped off by Mangle, very good, and another is killed by some little puppets in a piranha swarm. Kinda weird. Michael escapes the building and says,
Welcome back, Charlotte.
So this is all somehow part of his plan, I guess.
Back in town, everyone is geared up for FazFest to celebrate the now viral spooky stories about Freddy's.
Or they're just excited about Freddy's in general, because many of them grew up with that restaurant.
Who cares? Don't worry, this plotline actually doesn't matter. Vanessa, after freaking out during an exercise class and almost murking someone, tries that dream thing that Mike did last movie. It's a pretty cool scene, I guess, but it feels more like an excuse to shove Matthew Lillard into the movie again.
Later, the animatronics contact Abby and lure her to the old FNAF location. Not the one from the first movie, the other one! But despite all appearances, this is the marionette who is controlling the toy animatronics to make them seem like they are Abby's old friends. It's a ruse!
This is rather strange. Abby claims they are her friends, not just the animatronics, but the kids themselves, but can't tell the difference between the marionette pretending to be Chica and the real deal. Also, Abby's kinda dumb in this movie, despite claiming she's 11. I know 11-year-olds, and they can be dumb sometimes, but they aren't that stupid and gullible!
Yo! How did the marionette know to reach out to Abby anyways? How does she know who she is? What's happening?
So Abby meets her friends, and Abby is happy, but Vanessa is sus of Abby. But Mike doesn't care to hear about her suspicions, and in a rather robotic conversation, tells her that they need to move on, because he's trying to fix Abby, and trying to fix Vanessa as well. What?
Oh my, I'm so hurt, that is so rude.
But before you judge Mike too harshly, Mike just learned about the incident with Charlotte, and that Vanessa was there, aware, and did nothing to save Charlotte. Also, she never mentioned the entire story to Michael at all, so Mike views her as rather sus.
So Vanessa goes off to the old location, not the one for the first movie, the other one, to go investigate the situation, but is captured by the marionette.
Meanwhile, Mike drops off Abby at the robotics fair, then leaves to talk to Henry Emily. Oh my gosh, Henry Emily, that's a FNAF reference! And we learn more about the Charlotte situation. Kind of. Not really. It's all information we already knew, but with the addition of knowing that Henry was so obsessed with work that he wasn't there. Sad.
After Mike realizes that Abby could be in danger, After Mike realizes that Abby might actually be in danger, Henry gives him a music box. Don't you worry, this might matter later.
At the same time, Abby's project that she was working on is sabotaged by her jerk teacher, and she goes to the old pizzeria to cry to toy Chica. The marionette then forces Vanessa to deactivate the security system to let all the animatronics out. Why did Michael not turn off the security when he was there? Who knows? We actually don't know anything about this man's plan.
And sadly, this scene kicks off the last and worst part of the movie.
Warning, harsh criticism approaching.
The next section may sound like we absolutely despise this movie, but in truth, it's mostly just the ending, and we're trying to convey just how confusing this part of the movie, and the movie as a whole because of it, is.
There are quite a few befuddling decisions made, and that must be highlighted. But we don't hate the movie, we just think it's extremely flawed. With that in mind, let's go.
Toy Chica becomes Abby's new presentation at the robotics fair, which leads to the teacher getting killed. Don't worry, the movie tells you he deserved it, and Mike rescues Vanessa, even if he still doesn't trust her.
In a rather clunky and obvious exposition scene or scenes, Vanessa says that Charlotte the Marionette hated parents when she died and is stuck on that last emotion, for whatever reason, but a music box kept her asleep. Marionette's plan is to kill parents, maybe because she's big angry after being killed. I didn't think this rationale was quite strong enough to last for the entire movie, and by golly, it wasn't! Even if she's a ghost stuck in that emotion, this really feels like a stretch.
By the way, Mike and Vanessa go through the same water thing where the mini puppets killed that one dude, but when they get attacked in the tunnel, it's by Balloon Boy. But why not the puppets? A very odd and confusing decision, but not the first and certainly not the last.
Mike decides, for some reason, that Vanessa should go and find Charlotte while he stays and plays FNAF 2 with the withered animatronics, while he uses the tracker to tell Vanessa where the toys are. He will also attempt to destroy the wireless connection of the marionette. This plan is based purely on speculation. Oh, a reference. Shadow Bonnie.
Did you catch it? Anyway, Vanessa nearly dies a couple of times while trying to stop the toy animatronics from killing seemingly random people, but eventually Mike manages to turn off the animatronics. But oh no! There's one more signal in his house!
By the way, again, they say Charlotte's beef is with parents, but the only 4 people who die in this movie are not parents, and during the current event, Toy Freddy goes after an older couple, who may not even be parents, but grandparents with no children in the home. So, why them? And how do these loud-stomping machines sneak around so good?
The marionette launches out of Toy Chica and possesses Abby, and reroutes the signal to turn the toy animatronics back on.
So Mike's work has been completely undone.
Vanessa proceeds to say,
"We're outmatched. We need more help."
Or some crap, I'm done. What do you mean? The amount of animatronics around are still the exact same as when you started.
Why do you suddenly need help? And who did she have in mind?
Have you tried contacting the police?
There was literal property damage and witnesses. The police would have to do something.
You don't even need to mention ghosts. You can just say the robots went crazy. Wait, is Vanessa a cop?
Whatever, man. Mike goes to the pizzeria, the one from the first movie, not the other one, to go scream at the ghosts of the dead children as the camera spins around him for almost a full minute. He says, "If you really love Abby, then you would help me now."
Yes, indeed, that did take about a full minute, and remember, we only have 104 of those, including credits. Seems like a bit of a waste.
After no immediate response, Mike scurries off.
Vanessa gets jump-scared by Abby/Charlotte/possessed marionette thing, and is nearly killed. But Mike shows up with a music box that he got from Henry, and should have given to Vanessa earlier. Anyways, the puppet gets mopped by the music and sent out of Abby, and the music box for some reason stops when Mike puts it down. I don't think that's how music boxes work. You may think that's the end of the movie, but wait! There's more!
Suddenly, the toy animatronics appear, and they're being controlled by something, not the marionette. Who could it be? It's Michael! Michael freaking Afton! And he is controlling the animatronics somehow!
His plan, I have no idea why, his plan is to kill half of the town at this Faz Fest thing, which, by the way, it was his doing, oh, so sneaky. And he'll do this evil deed to continue his father's legacy. Golly, could you not have chosen a different word?
Vanessa rejects her brother's offer to join him and rule the galaxy side by side, so Michael tells the toy animatronic to break their bones. But before that can happen, all the animatronics from the first movie, the OGs, Abby's friends, all arrive, and each of the toy animatronics get one-shotted by the originals. Okay.
Michael Afton, after announcing his plans and then immediately getting them destroyed, runs away, but gets clotheslined by a side character that doesn't matter. Also, later when they all leave, Michael's just gone.
The dead kids go to heaven, but that leaves William Afton's body free to come back to life, and he'll be stronger this time.
The good guys leave the scene, but Mike says, "Stop! Wait, don't come any closer. Vanessa, stay away," because he can't trust her.
This doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we'll talk about that later.
Liar!
A split second after that, Vanessa is possessed in one of the most goofy ways imaginable by the marionette, which is active because the music box stopped, and the movie ends on a cliffhanger.
Post-credit scene number 1.
Some people who are scavenging around find William Afton's body, so FNAF 3 is probably the next movie.
Post-credit scene recording.
Henry leaves a message from Mike saying that he worked with William and has some tech that can find the rest of the animatronics. So there's more! Also, the marionette will be coming after Mike. Great.
And that's the end.
I'm running out of steam, so let's hit this in quick bullet point fashion.
Good stuff first. Opening scene into the opening credits. Very good.
It was well shot, impactful, a little odd, but I still very much enjoyed it.
And the music in the opening, and in general, is pretty good. Didn't always pay massive attention to it, but when I did hear it, pretty good theme.
The first half of the movie, for the most part, was pretty good and pretty solid. I enjoyed it. It was a little slow by comparison, but still fun.
I like the Easter eggs and the cameos. As a mild FNAF fan, I understood some of them. Like the Five Nights at Candy's reference. I like the har 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 meme. And also, Corey Kenshin made another appearance. Let's go, people! I don't think we're getting 100 videos this year.
I'm not sucker for fan service, but it was still pretty nice and thoughtful. And it is scarier than the first movie, for the most part. In the sections where the people are getting killed and everything, it's scarier than the first movie, I feel like, in execution.
And there were more scenes which had more spooks.
I also cared about the characters more, especially Vanessa, as I liked her much more than I did in the first movie, where she was some empty husk of a human being.
In this one, Vanessa is the fave character. What a turnaround. And the introduction of Michael Afton was an interesting decision, interesting twist. Don't know if it all worked out for them, but I think they got a good actor for it.
Also, unlike the other movie, they have a whole section where Mike is actually using some game mechanics seen in FNAF 2, so that was pretty fun, where like he puts on the mask, takes off the mask and everything, Foster can see past the mask. Fun little references like that is what we're looking for.
And the animatronics, chef's kiss. They looked really good in the original. Those same models look good here. And then the new characters they added in, like the toy animatronics and the Wizards, look awesome.
And there's just more stuff. The horizons have been broadened.
The scale feels so much larger rather than just Mike's house and the restaurant. We've got Mike's house, the restaurant, the other restaurant, the school, and Henry's house. So it's like twice the scale of last movie.
And because there's more stuff, there is more good things to hold on to. More animatronics, more everything. However, there's also a lot more bad stuff.
You've already gone over it, but let's do a quick roundup. Bad pacing. The pacing way too slow to start with, and the pacing way too fast at the end. Also, felt ping-ponging back and forth too much. We kept going to the first restaurant, back to the house, to the second restaurant, back to the house, to the first restaurant, back to the second restaurant, and all that. It's just too much.
Is a product of very poor writing, and the writing also affects the dialogue as well, where we get some pretty corny lines that just should not have been there. It also causes characters to not act human anymore. During exposition scenes, I expected Vanessa's eyes to start glowing, because when she spouts off this exposition, it just comes off as very robotic and machine-like.
And then Michael and Vanessa sometimes like talk past each other like they're not actually communicating, and nobody seems to care about things they really should care about. They don't ask questions sometimes, and then other times they exposit too much.
The reason being for this is the very confusing and nonsensical plot.
Also, chat, where's the scary? There's a lack of scares in general, but since this is kind of an entry-level horror film, it's not necessarily out of character for it to not be too scary for the big horror buffs. But I would also say that the scares they do include are not particularly unique. They reuse several formulas like, oh, they passed by the door, they didn't see it, it's suddenly standing there. Or the, oh, fake jump scare, but oh, just joking, it's just a person. Or the, oh, something horrible's about to happen, but something saved somebody just in time.
Which brings up another point of contention. Tension, or lack thereof.
The plot's so confusing, I never know the stakes.
I never feel like anyone's gonna die. I never feel like anyone's in actual real danger. I feel like when we have these like little horror moments like, oh, what's gonna happen? It's just never really holds. I wish like the scary moments would last longer maybe.
Things would also be a lot scarier if there are more subtle moments. Like the part where the puppets over the entrance and everything you kind of see in the background, it kind of like slips out of the frame and everything. That is some pretty good stuff. They don't do that very often. Most of the time it's just eyes glow, animatronic here.
In the post-credits scene where William Afton is found to be there, his eyes turn on and oh, he's still alive. I think it would have been much more effective if you just cut to black and then have like some creepy breathing sounds or something like that. I think that would be more than enough.
Yeah, speaking of animatronics, oh look, a segue. The animatronics are a little underused.
A little underused?
Very underused. Certain animatronics are there a lot more. Like Toy Chica gets all the screen time. The rest of the toy animatronics get no screen time.
I deserve more Toy Bonnie! He's my favorite animatronic!
I understand your frustration, Guido, but there's no need to scream, especially because the Withered animatronics got cheated!
Especially Withered Bonnie. My goodness, man got 10 seconds of screen time. Woke up, popped out a vent, and he's gone!
I think that a lot of this is just because there's way too many story elements to balance. They kept throwing things in last minute, and certain things only happened at like the last half hour of the movie. There was just no time.
Especially because the runtime is so dang short. It's like, what, 10 minutes shorter than the previous movie or something like that? Why? Why is it shorter? What happened?
This all led to an ending that was very anticlimactic. Like, Michael Afton, what was he doing? It's not a good reveal. He's like, hi, Michael Afton. He just arrives, and then he says, like, I've got an evil plan. And then he says, like, all right, destroy them. And then his plan's interrupted, and then he just runs away.
He's actually quite lame. Also, his plan makes no sense. Or whatever his plan was, like, is the puppet controlling things? Is he controlling things? Who knows and who cares?
I do think there's one element they could have added that would have brought this whole movie together and made it, dare I say, absolute cinema. Gosh, it would be a turbo furry fight.
If there's just more effort put into the fight, like, oh, look, the original animatronics versus the toy animatronics, people have made YouTube videos based on that. This is what people wanted to see. This is how legends are born. But instead, they all get one-shotted in the most anticlimactic way possible. You think, oh, at least Toy Chica will get to fight regular Chica. Nope, Chica just rips off her head. End of fight.
If there's one reason to be disappointed in the film, it's this right here. That and the ending where Vanessa gets possessed. What the frick was that? They made a gamble. It did not pay off. But does it deserve these bad reviews? Well, if you look at our recap we just did, our little review, it should be obvious that if you're not paying really close attention, remember the first movie, and have some FNAF lore under your belt, you're gonna be so confused! I'm pretty sure out of the 80 critics that reviewed this movie, I'm pretty sure none of them knew what the heck was going on. Not that some of the fans knew either, so...
But 13%, oh, that seems pretty rough.
Remember, that is just an indicator of how many of them suggest the movie, giving it a fresh score. And that's not even their choice, really. Rotten Tomatoes chooses for them. So they read the reviews and they're like, well, this one seems negative, this one seems positive. Take it with a bit of a grain of salt. But still, it doesn't look good.
While on Rotten Tomatoes, it is a positive audience reception, on other websites, it is quite mixed. For instance, YouTube reviews, Twitter, Reddit. A lot of people are saying, yo, as a FNAF fan, this isn't very good, or I didn't like it very much.
And this is a bit of a rant. For most of the people who have nothing bad to say about the movie, their comments pretty much boil down to just them saying, pure cinema, absolute cinema, it was peak cinema.
Some people make thoughtful, carefully crafted praise of the movie, but those are few and far between. It's just peak cinema comments, and it's driving me insane.
And to the people who leave those kind of comments, I ask you to imagine a world in which those hype moments are in a movie that's written well. Would that not truly be peak cinema?
Oh well, at least they had fun.
And by the way, I do feel kind of bad for Scott. He's one of my favorite game developers. He seems like a chill guy, but this just ain't it. And I was really hoping it would be good after the last one, and he was all depressed about how bad the scores were, but then he saw the fans liked it and he felt better, and he said he was going to improve, and then we get hit with these reviews.
Like I said, we don't necessarily think it deserves a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I guess that's how the cookie crumbles. Hopefully, the third one is much, much better. Though until they get another writer to go help out Scott and hopefully flush out things and, make sure everything looks good and get a new director because Emma is not very good, I don't know if it's going to improve much.
But things can improve! Although we really do need another director. But those are just our opinions, and we're just humans. You don't have to take what we say as law.
We're very happy that people enjoyed this movie, and we're also happy that people who didn't like this movie can say their opinions without getting crucified, making the FNAF fanbase already better than the Godzilla fanbase.
Let us know what you think by commenting your opinions down below.
This is a safe space for all types of fans.
Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let us know. But now it's time for us to thank our channel members. Look at these epic channel members.
Thank you for supporting our videos, and for as low as 99 cents, you too can support us and get access to exclusive videos and posts. Sorry for the lack of editing in this video. I had to be kind of go rushed out or whatever, but hopefully you enjoyed. For another video, check out this one over here.
Or perhaps this one over here. It's on our second channel, and we think that you might like it.
And who we see there, the wise words of Withered Bonnie after 10 seconds of screen time.
Goodbye.